Good morning, subscribers. How you doing? This is Harper. Good morning. Um, I'm here to talk to y'all for your soundbite. Last night we was on Breaking Brown, a lot of us, and we were speaking to each other. You know, there was some good talk. Yvette Cornell, shout out, showed up on Breaking Brown. And we had a good discussion, and some good information went forth, and some good callers came in. So, ADOS community, you know what's going on. We know what we're doing, and we're dealing with it. We going forth. We dealing with it. And one of the things that I want to discuss is black loyalty. Black loyalty. Our black loyalty. Where is our loyalty? Okay, let's talk about it because we have like a problem in the community where as though we seem not to reciprocate loyalty for each other. For the utmost, we did swell the ground with ADOS. And we most of us are really like saying, okay, cool, let's get on board, let's do something, because we have a substantial fight, a good argument, due to how and what has happened in position. So, but we still dealing with some black people that are, basically being opposed or being reluctant, a little non-receptive, and all kinds of things like that. And a lot of these are the boomers. Some of them are boomers, not all, not all. And I think this is coming from people feeling like, oh, this has been done already. Oh, we're fine. We're not slaves anymore. We're not in the field working, and not really looking at the capitalism, not really looking at the morality, non-morality of the government in terms of us as a unit, in terms of us as a unit, not other groups. We haven't looked at the whole compass. We don't choose to because we're not in the fields working. Somebody's getting a little Social Security or a little food stamps, or maybe somebody got a job. I mean, you can actually find a job. So it's that kind of thing. So, we're scattered in that sense, but then again, we are on board. I want to talk to the people basically that are on board, and also the people that are reluctant and saying that, oh, well, let me sit back. Now is not the time for black people to feel like they, can go to work, come home, and mind their own business. Now is not the time. They are raging war on us. Let me tell you, we are in war socially and politically, definitely, and also physically. There's police officers and everything else that have a real history of racism in their families and their lives. Race soldiers grabbing on black men arms in their front yard, telling them that they're somebody else and they're not, or saying your name is this person or Queen or whoever, and just and not only that, you got that going on, and then we have not been rectified in terms of government policy, and every other group has. I mean, we got people trying to parrot our talking points as though that they are us. I talked to a native mixed with a Hispanic, and she wanted to be like me, and she was very benevolent, and she had all this benevolent tone, and she was good people, and she was saying, yeah, and we black and us brown and black people, and she just kept going on. But what she didn't realize is that I'm aware that you have been rectified in terms of government policy as a native, as the native Indian, and even as a Hispanic. You come here, you get jobs, and you have DACA. The president has changed rules for you. People have fought for laws for you to be in sanctuary places. And then the natives are getting reparations. So you cannot parrot my talking points. You're not me. I am the one, black people. We are the one. We are a specific tribe, and we were affected the same way, but we also have different. We're very unique because a lot of us got Indian in us, we got Irish in us, but we're black. I mean, we definitely, the African side and the Caribbean side is the more dominant gene that takes over. Okay, all right. So we've been affected in a real way, and we are the only people with the last name of slave traders. These people know their history. They know their last name, and the lady was telling me her last name and what it means and her first name. This is her lineage. Her history makes her valuable. She's in touch with her history, even as a native Indian, even though they were forced off their land and stuff, and some of them were murdered. That doesn't matter. They were not enslaved. They were not enslaved, and they did not experience the hardship of free forced labor, backbreaking, blood sacrifice, slavery, and institutionalized racism. They were set apart as a protected class after they were humiliated and after they were harmed against their humanitarian rights. We were not. We were told that's what we were supposed to have. We were told that's what we were supposed to do, but we never obtained it. And then we were further manipulated and railroaded down through Jim Crow and institutionalized racism. So you cannot say that you're a black person, and I'm sure you don't want to be. But when we start talking this stuff, people try to line themselves up with us like, well, you guys are not the only people who suffered. Well, that's a lie. Everybody suffered, but they were corrected. And then, and stuff like that. So we got to realize, where's our loyalty with each other? I mean, you got the baby boomers asking questions that are derogatory about Evad and all of this, and are we just talking? And of course we're just talking. We're not just talking, but communication is powerful. We have to reckon with each other. We have to come to the round table of discussion. So I would encourage anybody to follow the content. If you're a black person and you're a descendant of slavery, you have no room at all to be opposed to this. None whatsoever to be opposed to ADOS. You are committing suicide and helping your children run into a brick wall. This is for the sake of our community and the greater good. We should be rectified in terms of government policy. This is how this is. Our nation has become rich off of us and our tax dollars and our hard labor. I mean, really. So we need to understand. And the black loyalty. A lot of times black people go to church to reciprocate some type of loyalty. Because your God is there in your place of religion. That's why politicians parrot those places. Because you're in a docile mindset and you're in a vulnerable space. And they show up there. And sit around your pulpit, but don't have an agenda for you. What is that? What is that? That's actually, basically, that's ingenuing and promoting feudalism. I don't have an agenda for you, but I want you to vote for me. I'm not reckoning with you. Nobody cares about us. We have to care about ourselves. We have to line up and be for ourselves. We are not following. We're leading. This is leading. We're not following. People lead. People also lead. And we don't have to just lead straight to the church. People lead. You can't do politics like you do church. Like Yvette Cornell said, that's not how you do it. That's what black folks, what we trying to do. We center everything in a group in terms of our religion. And we feel like we're safe there because that's a God. However, you have to be strategic about what you're doing in terms of politics and business. And we have not done politics. We have not came to the forefront as a group. When we attempt to, we was dealt with racism and people were hurt and harmed. Okay, we can prove that. That's institutionalized racism that happened to us, that set us back. The crack epidemic, that was an insertion of drugs and a CIA project. Okay, that's the things that we're fighting for to be repaired. But we can't do it if we're talking against each other because we feel like, I don't know what's wrong with black folks, where we feel like we so much better than our own selves. We all we got. We all we got. So if anybody come to you talking about reparations, ADOS, you need to sit back and listen if you don't know, and you need to be receptive to those talking points. Why not? This is not a fallacy that we deserve and we are owed justice claims. This is reality. They have no substantial argument against this. Only thing they're saying is trying to use talking points to go around the subject. If we were not owed this, we would all be sounding like fools. But of course, we're not sounding like fools because it is something that's due to us. It is our justice claims. We are the only group that's been positioned throughout this without receiving aid properly, without getting our inheritance. That is my money and my protected class. as an important person in the anchor of the history of the United States. That's how it moves. This is supposed to protect. This compound was built under the success for and the power and the success of me and my ancestors. This is our money. This is ours. A man's supposed to be paid for his wages. And things belong to us. This is our nation also. Now, other groups are coming here. Every other country is getting something. Even all over in Madagascar, getting $500 million. I mean, every country, Venezuela, everybody getting stuff from the United States. It's the first world. We are the only group that haven't. And the reason we can't do it is because we're not a unit. We don't unify. We always try to pull each other apart. That don't even make sense. And I'm not talking about no young people. It's the older people also. The young people follow us if we get ourselves together and balance and have some moral compass for ourselves. So we reciprocate moral compass among each other, and we can set a good example for our children. This is what we have to do. We feel like for some reason we can shuck and jive when we got a little something and play around. This is not the time to do that. You got to pay attention. If you want to know what to do, ask questions. I mean, what is our loyalty? What is it? Is it celebrity gossip? Is it, the church or our religious place? I mean, or is it us first? How can you love a God you never seen before and you don't even love your neighbors whom you see every day? That's who he is. So how you going to go to a building and say, I remembering God here? But then when you reckon with community, you have an ill feeling. You want to disassociate yourself from the descendant of slavery because it hurts. You've been abused. If you're a black person and you're an ADOS person, you have been abused. I don't care what level you on, what type of costume you wearing. I don't care how much money you got, overclass or underclass, overskill or underskill. Black people in this system, society have been abused, and we have been denied something that is very important. I don't care if you Oprah or Bill Cosby. If you black, you have been denied the richness of your culture. You have been denied the wealth of your culture, the wealth of your people. You have been denied your inheritance in terms of policy. Like you are nobody. Subjected to failure. Prisons built to warehouse your men and say that they're a crime. People running for president rallying for the punishment of black folks going up the prison pipeline, investing their money in the prison. Joe Biden. Oh, you got a Jew also. Bernie Sanders don't know what reparations is. If anybody know what reparations is, it's a Jew. Kamala Harris, she's not even a black person, but she said she was. She's a liar, just like Hillary Clinton. She'll tell you she got hot sauce in her bag too, and a joint, probably with some chicken grease around it. She'll say that because I had some KFC earlier. That's what they're doing. And that's offensive. And we can't come together. We got to pull Yvette apart, Yvette Cornell. We got to pull Tone Talks apart. Us black folks who too smart. So we too smart for ADOS. Or we Pan-Africanists. And because we Pan-Africanists, this is against my moral compass. You see what I'm saying? This is what black folks think we can do. We think we important because we feel that we made it somewhere because we were turned loose from slavery physically. But we're still living in feudalism. And we're the only group that's doing it. Now, other groups may be, but they ain't doing it like we are. They have forgotten about us totally. Totally. Their talking points about us are not positive at all. They have an iota against us because we don't stand for ourselves. Once we make a stand and we come forth, people will say, these people mean business. They're leaders among each other. They're coming to the round table. They are pushing an agenda as a unit. United front. A united front. Not people talking about, well, I can't hear all them videos and they talk too long and what we gonna do? And said anything to run to correct ourselves. But we outside working in corporate for them slave wages, a lot of us. Not, just enough to get by, 45, 50,000, some of us 100, it don't matter. That $100,000 life, you can buy so much stuff, you'll be in debt making that kind of money against generational wealth. Are you crazy? Oprah Winfrey was fighting a power source of billionaires. That's why they used her as a pitch girl. I hate to say it, promoting product, because that's the community she was able to exchange among. She was not wealthy. She was exchanging among wealth. Wealth is a team sport. So she was outpowered. I mean, as a billionaire. Do we really realize who we are? And the people that are able to reach that wealth status to exchange among it, usually they're redlined some type of way from reckoning with their own people. Or if they do, it's like, it's nothing major that they done, like built a school or got some kind of infrastructure going, or, where we can basically chain ourselves to and anchor ourselves around as a people and come into a revolution for ourselves. Nothing like that. They were entertaining the feudalism that is the powers that be, basically, even in those statuses, because of the way we have been affected and who we were and where we came from in the system. We came from slaves in the United States. And we don't realize that we don't have the time or the energy to be opposed to our own agenda. And we're doing it. A lot of us are doing that. And that's disheartening. It's very disheartening and disparaging to see. But I'm going to stick in there with us. I'm going to stick in there with us because I don't have a choice. But baby boomers, you don't have no right to sit around and talk about, well, we did all that. No, you don't do that. You stand up for us and with us. This is for us and our children. This is for our children. This is for our children, y'all. This is for us. We can't be walking around this society in the diaspora being without. Folks looking for us to be receptive, to be a non-relevant source, a non-relevant unit. Well, you look what happened with drugs was inserted. We preaching to y'all because this is real. We need to wake up. Wake up. Wake up. You ain't no white person. You ain't nobody else. You're subjected to a space. I don't care if you in corporate. I've done all that. I work for corporate. Look, I got nice things myself, but I'm ADOS. I am American descendant of slavery. And I intend to be rectified by the United States government policy in terms of my inheritance. Do you realize these people got your money and passing it around countries and everybody? They owe us almost about $14 trillion. They built facility, empire. These people living in all kinds of beautiful big enclaves of homes, the bedrock, fireplaces on every side of the house, not worrying about what they're going to eat or do, living their best life. Their children can think and go to school properly because they can emulate, they can do things that children can emulate. They can pick up wealth. They can transfer wealth. All of this, they're accessing super capital and Their children getting apartments when they get out of college their parents paid for. Because of they've been anchored in generational wealth through our failure and blood sacrifice on our part. This is what's going on. What we did have, it was also took away, especially through crack cocaine. People not looking at that as much as they looking at the KKK running people off their land and stealing land and stuff like that. They did do that. They did a lot of it. But also, crack cocaine was a very big crime. That took a lot away. That snatched our integrity, our prestige. And Gary Ware wrote the story, and he was later on assassinated. Bob Marley was assassinated for revolutionists. We were really affected. And black folks run around here with a slight smile and a nice, slow, classy walk, saying stuff like, well, you can't do that. You're a black person. You can't do that. Your idea of success has been compromised. And your children, your communities that were beautiful has been destroyed by drugs, the CIA project. And your children and your people are being warehoused in prisons. There are white men who own businesses investing their money in the prison system. And they're out there working, the prisoners working for free, like slaves. And a lot of folks in prison shouldn't be there. No, because they're not a threat to the community. So we need to look into this. Mass incarceration. This is unacceptable, y'all. We have to remember, they're trying to replace us with some Latinos or Hispanic people coming over here. Ain't nobody no better than us, and it's not going to work. Because I know we're going to stand because people like me are out here fussing about it. And we going to stand. We leaders. We not following. This not what we doing. We're not following. We're leading. You need to wake up, mothers, fathers, children, and get on board. No, this is not a game. We are at war politically and socially. It is dangerous right now for you to not know politics and want to do politics as a black person. Every day you should be looking up the data and trying to see where it's at. And stop letting the politicians come in your church and finesse you in a docile place with your God. And ask them the questions that's uncomfortable so you can really see what's on their agenda. This is not a game. This is business. You don't look for any type of loyalty. You look for respect. You remember you don't walk around with their docileness. This is about leadership. We have to do this. We have to. I say get on board. Follow Yvette Cornell, Tone Talks. Anybody who's talking about reparations or ADOS, black people that's in the United States diaspora, you have no room to be opposed. This is for you and your children.